hit us up. He said, why do people just assume Ohio State can win a national title every year? My answer is because they can win a national title every year.
Lay hold of it. You lay hold of it. And when that thing tells you to quit, you look at it in his eye and say, I ain't going nowhere. I will break you before you break me. You will not defeat me. You will not destroy me. Some of you are so ignorant. You've been through so much hell. You gonna quit now? You should have quit 10 years ago. You should have been quit. You don't quit now. It's the 10th round. You got 2 more to go. And when you get to success, it's not about skill. When you get to a certain level of success, it's about stamina. It's about stamina. It's about you won't break me. You can't take me. It's too late now. It's too late. You should have broke me a long time ago. I'm unbreakable now. The only chance at this point is you gotta kill me. And you gotta kill me now. And then when you kill me, my legacy will live.
And welcome into the Voice of College Football Ohio State channel. We are recapping Ohio State's 45-0 win over the Purdue Boilermakers. Can't help but think that Ryan Day was thinking about 2018 a little bit with how much the broadcast was talking about it, and he wanted to make them pay some with what he did to him today. I'm your host, JR, bringing you the recap with my man Mike, 216_Wildboy from Twitter. Mike, what'd you think of the game?
Yeah, man. Game started off a little bit slow, but we got to see some wrinkles, and then also we got to see what we wanted to see, the young guys get in there. So overall, happy with the game. Go ahead, defense got their shutout, and on to Northwestern. So.
Yes, exactly. And I do want to mention that Jeremiah Smith did break the record today for the freshman wide receiver receiving stats. He broke both the receptions record today, and he got his 9th touchdown of the season, which brings him to 9, which is higher than Chris Carter's, where he had with 8. The next record is the Big Ten freshman record, which was set by Rondale Moore in 2018, like the broadcast let us know. And I have a pretty good feeling like he's going to get there. What do you think, Mike?
So that last part again, my apologies.
Do you think Jeremiah Smith is going to break the Big Ten receiving touchdown record of 12?
I don't know, man. I'm hoping so. But I mean, the guy is open. We just got to get him the ball, man, consistently. And I wish we could hit those explosive plays, because if we could hit those explosive plays, I would go ahead and say, yeah, he's going to set the record, and it's going to be a while before anybody gets it, if we were able to hit those explosive plays more consistently. So, I'm hoping he gets there. He can. It's definitely possible. It's not, something that's not obtainable, but we just got to do what we got to do. Quarterback got to do what he got to do, and the coaches have to do what they have to do if they want to get that record for it.
Yeah, he has had 1 receiving touchdown in every game so far this season. He's averaging 1 per game. There were a couple games he didn't get him, but he has multiple in other games, so that's how he gets the average up there. But overall, it's been a great season for Jeremiah Smith. I have a feeling like he is going to get it. Go ahead if you are listening and you have the chat function available. I put a poll there in the chat. Is Jeremiah Smith going to be the best wide receiver in Ohio State football history when it is all said and done? He looks like he's on his way right now. So, to me, I would probably vote yes. Mike, what do you think? You think he's going to be the best?
Oh, hands down, man. Marv was actually doing his workouts at Ohio State instead of, doing, the combine and doing stuff or whatever, getting ready for the combine. He was working out at Ohio State. So he was able to see Jeremiah before, right? And he told us he's the next great thing. Geno Smith, quarterback for this Seattle Seahawks, has spoken, said he's probably going to be the best, wide receiver he thinks in the NFL as well. So, I mean, I know his family, he might be a little bit biased, but I mean, everything that we're seeing, I remember this offseason talking to Oregon fans or talking to, honestly, college football fans, I'll say. It's like, are you concerned with a freshman being your number one wide receiver? And I said, if everything that what everybody is saying about him is true, no. If he's him, he's him. What does it matter if he's a freshman? If he's him, he's him. So, and to me, as you can see, Jeremiah is him. All of the commentators, everyone nationally can't talk about the Buckeyes without talking about JJ Smith.
Yeah, you can't. And at this point, he is, has odds up there for the Heisman Trophy Award. Now, they're not great odds, but I don't see any other true freshmen on the odds board with many of these these betting sites and stuff. So it's really been a tremendous season for Jeremiah Smith. And at this rate, I mean, we're only like halfway through the season. If Ohio State makes it to the national championship game, we're still only like halfway through the season. So we still got a little bit less than half of the season to go if Ohio State is to accomplish their goals. Now, I will say, Mike, I felt like there were a number of instances in this game where maybe 2 or 3 where I felt like Will Howard could have threw it up to Jeremiah Smith. I felt like he was downfield. 1 or 2 where I felt like he was open, and then another maybe 1 or 2 where it felt like, yeah, I mean, maybe you throw it up there. And it's not like the game was 30-0 at those points. It was still, in the first half when it wasn't quite so over yet. What did you think? Did you think Will Howard should have thrown the deep ball more to Jeremiah Smith today, or were you okay with kind of the methodical drives going down the field?
I do not like the dink and dunk. I don't. I was in the group chat telling some fellas, I'm like, I don't like the dink and dunk. I need to see the explosive plays, man. And I think that the players are wanting the explosive plays as well on offense. And they deserve it, man. I mean, even Carnell Tate, like, yeah, we talking a lot about Jeremiah, but I mean, even Carnell Tate, he should have been able to just catch that walking into the end zone. I mean, it has to be there. And, the coaching staff keeps saying that we're working on it. And I was sitting there like, what better game to work on it? Like, you're working on it in practice, but I need to see it in the game. And I felt like this was the game where, especially when it got out of hand, mid third quarter, late third quarter, I want to see it. I want to see it.
Throw it up to him. See if he can bring it down. See if, Will Howard can hit him on the spot and get him up there. Yeah, I agree. I would like to see it more often, especially in some of these games. You don't want to throw an interception or something like that. You'd like to just kind of move the ball down the field and do what you're supposed to do. But at the end of the day, like, it's obvious that Ohio State is able to move the ball down the field. It's obvious that they can do that. What's not obvious is if they can throw the deep ball consistently. So if you're practicing it in game or in practices, like, let's throw it in the games a little bit too. I'm with you. If it's late second quarter, if it's the third quarter and your starters are still in, the game seems like it's in hand, throw it up there. Let's see what happens. And I totally agree with you. Carnell Tate should have just walked in. He did have 6 receptions, 56 yards on the day. Jeremiah Smith finished with 6 receptions, 87 yards, and 1 touchdown on 7 targets. Somebody that didn't get a whole lot of usage today in comparison to some others is Emeka Egbuka. He only has the 1 catch for 10 yards and a touchdown. Were you surprised at the lack of usage of Emeka Egbuka today?
No, I wasn't surprised because, to be honest, it's like I have to go back and really like watch the game and see what the defense was doing. But what you end up seeing is the defense is either trying to take either Emeka away or they're trying to take JJ away. Right. So I have to go back and see that on tape or whatever. But I mean, I'm not surprised because here's the thing. Everybody else got to eat. Everybody else got to eat. And that's what you want from your wide receiver room. If someone's not having that day, everybody else around him can step up. So am I shocked in this offense? No, I'm not. And to be honest, I feel like if you want to get Emeka a little bit more open, and get the ball a little bit more, you have to have those explosive plays downfield.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting that we went from last year where it was, and even years before where it was, big numbers all the time. And it really felt like this was an offense that was going to produce a Heisman Trophy winner at some point. Really felt like Justin Fields in that 19 season could have been close to that. It felt like CJ Stroud both years was very close to that as well. But you had Kyle McCord last year. He wasn't going to win the Heisman Trophy, but he definitely got some conversation for Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. ends up winning that wide receiver award. Forgetting the name off the top of my head for it, but he wins that one. And this year, I don't know if there's going to be very many award winners on this offense, just because you don't really play that style of game where you are racking up all the yards and getting these big huge stat totals like Jackson Dart throwing for 500 yards or 400 yards in a game, stuff like that. You're just not going to see that. But Will Howard still does have a good day, 21 for 26, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions in this one, another high completion day for Will Howard. I mean, Mike, did you feel like you saw better version of Will Howard today? No real glaring mistake. What'd you think?
I would say Will Howard just being Will Howard, out there being a game manager. And I do say, I felt he didn't put the ball in harm's way too many times. But Will Howard out there doing his thing, man. I can't ask anything. Only thing I ask for him is the deep ball. That's it. That's the only thing that I'm asking for. But other than that, I can't ask too much from him. I felt like early in the game he was pressing a little bit, but then he was able to calm down. So
yeah, that first drive they were 3 and out, I believe, on that first one, and then after that, they had was it the second drive when G. Scott dropped the slant? I think it was the second one when that happened.
Maybe. I felt like he was pressing when he should have gave the ball. Like, it seemed like he wanted to kind of take that game over or whatever, or get the tone started for the team. And it's like the one play he should have gave it to Judkins. And instead he keeps it. And I'm like, bruh, and it's just like, you're not that type of that guy, Will, man. Just be the game manager. Get a ball to the, be the point guard, man. Just get a ball to the playmakers and let them go to work.
Yeah, for sure. Rushing on, or what'd you say?
I'm sorry to cut you off. Is it official? Miami falls?
I saw they were coming back in their game. I don't have that game pulled up, but I can pull that up really fast.
Well, Terry had them picked to.
Yeah, it looks like Georgia Tech has the ball in the red zone, less than 2 minutes, up by 5. So it looks like Miami's probably gonna fall in this one after everybody was singing. I mean, that was coming, right? Like, Miami was gonna lose.
I mean, it's 3rd and 8 right now. Man, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were singing, Miami praises, but then again, as we've been saying, who have they been playing? And that's my whole thing. How can you put them up above an Indiana team or whatever when Indiana's smoking all of their opponent? You could say their schedule is basically similar to me.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree. The biggest thing is that Miami, they have Cam Ward, and so they have the quarterback that gets kind of all the buzz and stuff, which in my mind, I think Curtis Rourke is just as good, if not better, personally, but he doesn't put up as much numbers because he has more of a running game. But yeah, it is what it is. We'll see Miami fall. How funny would that be if SMU makes it to the college football playoffs instead of Miami? They're ranked down low there. They could be the 12th seed. If Boise State keeps winning and SMU wins, they could be ranked behind Boise State, and you could see the ACC champion as the 12th seed in the playoffs rather than the G5's team, which is absolutely crazy.
I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping that SMU definitely gets in and makes it, man. I'm definitely rooting for SMU to get in there, and I was thinking that they could be that team that goes in there and upsets Miami if Miami doesn't take an L before then. So, hey, it is what it is.
At this point, I'm just rooting for chaos. As long as it's not Ohio State chaos, I'm rooting for chaos in this one, and just all of college football right now. So, Mike, back to Ohio State. Let's talk a little bit about the running backs. Trayvon Henderson, only 6 carries, but 85 yards and a touchdown. Quinshon Judkins saw the bulk of the carries with 11 attempts and 32 yards. Were you concerned at all with the kind of the low average, only 2.9 yards per carry for Quinshon Judkins in this game? Did you feel like the run blocking was very good? What did you think there?
I felt like, they kind of was trying to start the game off with QJ, and the run game wasn't getting off like it should have been. Also, I felt like the play calling was a little too finesse, the running game in the beginning. And I felt like we should have been trying to pound the ball down their throat instead of being a little too cute with it. And here's the thing, like I was telling someone, when you're in these, type of situations in this long season, how amazing is it to have 2 great backs, right? Sometimes, a guy's just not having that day, but you can go ahead and have another guy who can have a day. So, yeah.
Yeah,
and
no,
you're
I
probably
agree.
looking at what I'm just looking at too. So.
Yeah, Miami just fell. Georgia Tech gets the win, and everybody is storming the field there. So if you do not like the U, you're having a good day today. I'm thinking of Juck right now. I know Juck over there, not a big U fan. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
not a big U fan. Juck is. So I know he's probably enjoying this right now. Of course, he's probably on his post-game show, but
Chris is loving this right now because Chris is like, Georgia
Chris,
Texas, is his team.
Yeah.
You got it, Terry. Yeah, you told me, Terry. I mean, here's my thing was like I kept saying, I was following the trend. Miami's always down. They're always in a tough one, but somehow they pull it out in the second half. So,
has Miami played Clemson yet?
They're not on the schedule for them.
So if Clemson and Miami tie, would it go to overall record? Do you know in the ACC how that works?
I'm not sure how it works, but right now it's like if Clemson wins out, if Miami wins out, and then SMU wins out, I think SMU is the only one who is SMU, as long as they win out, they're automatically in.
Yeah.
They don't have a loss in the conference.
Yeah, their only losses out of conference to
BYU.
BYU, that's right. Yeah,
they're
undefeated.
Which again, like the committee, they went
like
against their rankings.
BYU should have been ranked where Miami was, and based on what the committee was doing with Indiana, I felt like Miami should have been ranked where BYU was. Like it only makes sense if you're going to have criteria that Indiana didn't play anybody.
Right.
You can't do the same thing with Miami, but they got their just dessert. So that's how it goes. So Indiana just turned on the Indiana and Michigan game, and Indiana just went and did not score on their first drive after Michigan didn't score on their first drive either. So Michigan will get the ball back. We'll see what goes on there. Anything else with the offense you want to bring up, Mike?
No, I mean, hey, shout out to, as my guy Carson Hinsman said, shout out to John Joy, baby. I remember when I had an MCL sprain, I had to get a Don Joy knee brace. But, offensive linemen, when you playing at that level, they all are required to have one. And, when he went down, we saw him grabbing at his knee, man. And it was just good to see him laughing on the sideline, being able to get back up and walk it off and everything, man, because, it was just, I was sitting there like, man, we have to be cursed. And then it was like right after that, you see Will start hopping around with his knee. And I'm like, because he got rolled up on. And I'm just like, oh, no, what is going on? Get everybody out the damn game.
I was thinking the same thing, man. When I saw that Hinsman went down, I was like, okay, was there contact? Was there no contact? Because for me, that's always the biggest thing. If there's a little bit of contact, I feel like, okay, it could be like maybe he just got hit and he feels it for a minute or something like that, and maybe they'll come back. But it's those no contact injuries when I see him just like running and nobody's touched him or like just pass set to block and nobody's touched them, and then they go down. It's like, and that's what happened with Josh Simmons. Just nobody touched him, and then he went down, and you were like, oh yeah, that's not good at
Right.
all. So yeah, to see Hinsman get hit and then kind of walk his way to the sideline, and then he's on the sideline kind of laughing, joking. I don't even think he went into the tent. So that was a good situation there. Thank goodness. We had a new starter on the defensive line, Mike. Edric Houston. He was juiced in this one, possibly a little too juiced at one point. What'd you think of Edric Houston and the rest of the defensive line in this game?
Hey, I'm not gonna say too juiced. As my guy Cam from Best Damn Media said, maybe we needed him on the field at Eugene when Spit Boy was out there, to get in Spit Boy's face, because that's what we need. We need some dogs, right? Now, obviously, you don't want to put your team in that type of situation. He's a young guy, got to work that out. You can't be doing that. But I do love to see the aggression. Obviously, you can have controlled aggression. We would like to see that. But I do love the aggression and intensity. And, they were talking all week about moving him inside, that they see potential there. He has been learning the position, and he has been open to it. And to be honest, the way he eat, I feel like he might as well just go ahead and stay in there. And honestly, man, it just makes me happy for the future, because if him and K-Mac are on the field at the same, man, don't even get me started. Yeah, Edric Houston, man, big dreams. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at the snap count, but I was a little surprised that K-Mac was not in the game more. I mean, I'm not complaining about Edric Houston getting the start. I think it's really, really good for him to get those reps and have that experience and stuff, but it really feels like, they're just completely locked into this 1-tech, 3-tech, stuff like that, and making sure they get those guys their time. But Caden McDonald does come in for 2 tackles on the game. He gets 1 quarterback hit, so he does make an impact in those areas. But overall, didn't hear much from K-Mac in this one. It was really the ends that made more of the big plays. Cody Simon had himself a half sack, and Sonny Styles had a half sack, the linebackers, and then Jack Sawyer got in there for a half sack. And then who was the other one? JT and had one, and then Jordan Hancock had a half sack as well. So basically everybody, when you're sending that blitz and you're bringing all guys in there, you're getting 1 or 2 guys to the quarterback at the same time. It's an impressive thing. But yeah, Jack Sawyer getting a sack, JT Tuimoloau getting a sack. It was good for those guys, but they still aren't doing that speed rush off the edge and just absolutely blowing by their guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the defensive end play that you want to see, but also on the defensive side, we saw a little bit of experimentation as well. Looked like they were bringing out the jack position. I know Buckeye fans were saying, "Hey, what is going on? Why are they doing this?" But I mean, you go ahead and you put something else on tape. You also get guys reps in that, where they can go ahead, say, hey, we ran this defense. Okay, now next time I know I'm looking for here. I need to trigger faster here. Things like that, right? And also it gives teams something else that they need to prepare for.
Right.
So I enjoy it. Smart move.
Yeah, and I felt like they were stunting quite a bit. They were doing some different things with the blitz packages. I think Clapp pointed out on that one blitz where Sonny came in and he almost kind of blocked the guard, so that way Jack Sawyer had a path to the quarterback when he got to him. So, I mean, they're definitely getting more creative down there with what they're doing. I'll still kind of, hear about what the snap count was at the end of the game before I before I give too much props there with the snap count of the D-line, because that's something I'm still monitoring quite a bit. But overall in this one, the linebackers felt like, Sonny Styles a little bit struggled, but he did make his plays when he had opportunity to. He got the sack, like I said, and then Cody Simon, I mean, he's just an animal all over the field. Only 6 tackles, but he only played 3 quarters in this one.
This guy was on the bench last year?
Yeah. Right.
It it's just hard. and it makes me go back to like Laurinaitis this offseason saying, like, I should have played Cody Simon more. Like, I should have played Cody Simon more. And it's like, you know these things. Why don't you do these things? But anyways, yeah, shout out Cody Simon representing the Block O. Continue to, lead this defense as a captain out there. So, I mean, Cody Simon, hopefully he could help teach and bring the other linebackers along with him. And I also want to say, getting closer to the end of the game, man, and this is something that us guys over at Best Damn Media have talked about was team speed. You see where guys make mistakes, right? But then they're able to chase down the mistake. And I remember before, like in 2021, we did not have those type of guys, to chase down the mistake. I think even in 2022, we couldn't chase down a mistake, but we're actually seeing it. And I saw Arvell Reese do it. Sonny Styles, he made a mistake and still was able to chase the guy down. Those are things where that's why you put those athletes there and you allow them to work through that and get those game reps, because once it all clicks for them, it's going to be scary.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once those guys are able to kind of all put it together, this defense is going to be even freakier than it has been at times. Purdue does miss 2 field goals, so it does help secure the shutout for Ohio State's defense. And credit to Ohio State's field goal block. I felt like the past few weeks, they've been getting more pressure on the field goal. If you looked in the Penn State game, Tyleek and them, they almost had blocked a few with how deep they were getting into the backfield and getting their hands up. That would have been a pretty electric moment if they would have done that last week. And we got a blocked punt in this one, Mike. That was really cool to see. Caden Curry comes in. Now, the ball didn't go backward. It was still kind of did go forward, but the punt didn't go very far at all, and Caden Curry gets to him. When I saw the first punt by Purdue, I thought, oh, man, this guy has a really long wind-up to punt for it, and I think Ohio State saw the same thing, and they sent the defensive end back there who, I mean, you got to have a lot of speed to get into the backfield for a blocked punt. So if you're a defensive end, like, great job, Caden Curry.
I mean, here's my thing about Caden Curry is when he's on the field, when is he not making plays?
That's true.
Every time we get to see this guy get in a game, he's making plays. This is what I'm saying. You gotta let your playmakers make plays. Guys who are always flying, find themselves somewhere around the ball. Like I need to see more of Caden Curry. I feel like he's kind of in the shadows, and I need him out of the shadows, because isn't this a guy who was playing even on the goal line offense or whatever his freshman year? Yeah, this guy he's been a team guy. I just think that we need to reward him with a lot more snaps than what he's getting.
Yeah, I mean, at this point with Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson, I mean, no disrespect to JT and Jack at all, but at this point, I'd almost swap those guys drive after drive, give Jack and JT a drive and then let Caden and Kenyatta have a drive. I mean, Caden and Kenyatta are not young anymore. These are both juniors, if I'm not mistaken. Like these guys are experienced players, and you need to get them a lot of run for next year to make sure there's no drop off from defensive ends this year to next year. In fact, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, if these guys can play at the level they've been playing to at certain times, it could be better next year with Caden Curry and his speed and what he's able to do. It could be better. So overall, though, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson get some more snaps in there and do some more things. But that was a really cool moment for Caden Curry. Secondary, and then we can probably move on. Mike, any thoughts on the secondary? How they played? Hudson Card, I feel like, is an underrated quarterback in the Big Ten. He just doesn't really have the receivers to help him out too much, and his receivers did make some plays here and there. The catch on Burke down the sideline, I felt like Burke had pretty good coverage. He had his hands up there, and he actually hit the ball. It just the Purdue player, he bobbled it around and caught it and made a good play there. But I feel like the secondary was solid. Maybe would have liked to see a little bit better coverage at times. Davison and Benosin still holding like crazy. What'd you think?
Yeah, man. I heard Iggy didn't like having the mitts on, man, and they should have put the mitts on him. They
Yeah.
should. I want him to have the mitts on every day in practice. There's no reason why. Because when he does that and he comes out in the game, he plays a whole lot better. I just believe he does. Like you said, I don't think that there was anything that Denzel Burke could have done on that one catch. Um, it was pretty good coverage, good catch as well. I would say the only thing that maybe Burke could work on is like his hand-eye coordination, right? While jumping in the air. If that's what you want to say, like I think that was the only thing that he could work on. But DBs definitely still got to get some work on their downfield technique. I will say, we seen Aaron Scott go out and he got cooked a couple times. One of them obviously not a catch, but and then also hopefully his injury is not too big. We seen him go down. I think it probably just could have been like you said, one of those gut shots, where you just feeling a little pain right there. And I mean, do you have any updates on the Aaron Scott situation, or did you hear anything? Yeah.
No, no,
Hopefully he's all right. I think it was
eh,
just a stinger.
I think he got hurt on that play where the receiver got over the top the most on him. So I don't know, if that impacted it too much or what. But I think the secondary overall, the starters were very good. It was interesting. They had Lathan Ransom playing in the box, much closer to line of scrimmage, and Lathan Ransom was kind of the one that was back a little bit more. I don't know if that's something we'll see, more often, but I always kind of felt like, Caleb Downs, he can do free safety for you, but it really seems like he's more of that kind of in the box guy, and Lathan Ransom's kind of the same way. So it's kind of interesting to see them swap them now and see what they're doing with those two. But overall, Jordan Hancock, I felt like he had a really good game. He was in the backfield. I felt like he was making plays on the back end. Probably won't go super noticed, but overall, like I really liked what I saw today from Jordan Hancock. And if something happens to Ransom again and we need to see him come out and play some more safety in his place, not that I'm, saying that is going to happen or anything, but if that did happen, I'd feel confident in Jordan Hancock. I just think he's that kind of player.
Yeah. What that actually reminded me of, like you said, shout out to Hancock and shout out to Lathan Ransom, because Ransom, big hit on, the guy going out of bounds, was out there making plays, got the interception, and Hancock almost had an interception as well. But
Yeah,
at the end of the game, did you see who was flying around all over the field and
I
was
did.
making plays? Number 9. And someone was like, who's number 9? Who's number 9? And he was just coming down, smacking stuff. And that was Malik Hartford, man. Malik Hartford was going down there and smacking everything, man. Shout out to him for sure.
Yeah. We know Malik can hit, so definitely good to see him getting in there and making use of his opportunities to be in there and be able to go hit somebody. So good for Malik. Love to see him get some time in there. And if anything, does happen to either of these safeties, it really feels like this safety room is just set up well for success, being able to move guys around and do that stuff. The depth of this team is just like, to me, it is so good. I don't know why you wouldn't play the depth. Why you wouldn't get those guys in there from time to time. It's amazing what they're able to do, and I really like. I wrote an article on Scarlet and Game the other day about the 4 depth players that made a difference in the Penn State game, being Jelani Thurman, that catch with, by the way, Jelani Thurman made a much better catch today. That hit him in the hands. He brought it in right away. I was like, Jelani, do that every time, man.
I'm telling you, he wasn't expecting that ball. And I think that's the only reason he was not. Because, even Ryan Day said in his press conference, he said Jelani was the last read. So I don't think Jelani was expecting that ball to come to him. He was like, hey, I'm just out here, man.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm glad he got it. So that was a cool moment for Jelani, and hopefully we'll see some more big moments for him.
Fact.
All right. Any other thoughts on the defense before we move on, Mike?
On the defense, no, just shout out to Jim Knowles, getting a shutout. Shout out to Jim Knowles, just showing some different wrinkles. showing what the jack position could look like. And making adjustments. I will say that. I feel like he made in-game adjustments and made second half adjustments as well. So
Yeah, 16 points allowed by the defense in the last 3 games. Everybody was very upset, including us with Jim Knowles after the Oregon game, and probably not as upset as some other people, but he's come out and the defense has been playing really well against Nebraska, Penn State, and now Purdue this week. Only 1 touchdown allowed in the past 3 games, coming off that Oregon game where they gave up, 32 in that one. So you really like to see that from the defense, and it does feel like this is kind of more Jim Knowles defense than maybe it was in the past. Good to see that. Any thoughts on the coaches or anything like that? I mean, we talked about Jim Knowles there for a second. Chip Kelly's play calling, Ryan Day. Any thoughts there, Mike?
Like I said earlier, the finesse play calling in the beginning. I thought we were going to get to see like all the quarterbacks. I thought like we were going to get a chance to see Air out there. But I was like, Devin only really got like maybe a couple times to throw the ball. Nothing really, but we seen Sane go out there, go 0 for 4. But Sane definitely looks quicker out there on his feet with the read. A lot of people and a lot of fans think that Devin Brown is a running quarterback, and that's not part of his game, really. I think that a lot of people got confused because of what he was doing last year, but I want people to know that he was doing that because he is a team guy,
Yeah.
So, but I do want to see something, a little more from our backup quarterbacks. I think that we need to get them out there in the game a little bit more. So hopefully in a Northwestern game, as long as it's not wind 60 miles per hour, like the last time we was over in that area, it was, hopefully we can get Devin Brown and Julian Sainz some more reps. Obviously they're probably not going to travel with Air, but hopefully we can see those 2 quarterbacks get a little bit more reps. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, the backups were 0 for 5 in the game. Like you said, Julian Sain 0 for 4, and then Devin Brown, he had 1 pass that was incomplete, but they were running it quite a bit. Julian Sain had 3 rushes for 12 yards, and then Devin Brown had himself 2 rushes for 3 yards. I agree. It's kind of interesting how Julian Sain seemed a little bit lighter on his feet and a little bit quicker than Devin Brown, especially when you saw Devin Brown last year kind of do that red zone package with his legs and what they were asking him to do there. So I really felt like that was kind of what Ryan Day was going to use to make Devin Brown the starter, but of course he got hurt. So that's all history. All right, Mike, any thoughts on recruiting? There was an interesting podcast by Jamie Birmingham earlier this week. I think it was Friday, where he predicted that Ohio State would get either Damola Ajitahun, the offensive tackle from Georgia, or Micah DeBose. He feels like they could get one of those 2. And Ohio State is sending out a few more scholarships here and there, but for the most part, we're kind of on to 2026, other than the offensive line. Any recruiting thoughts coming out of today and what they did?
Man, I wish that we weren't, playing Purdue.
Right.
I'll say that I wish we weren't playing Purdue. But hopefully we can get, some guys in, maybe I just hate that we don't really have that many big games at the shoe, not that many night games for the crowd to be as rowdy and stuff, for these recruits. But I mean, it's still a good atmosphere for them. And, I hope that we can lock down these recruits. I mean, my motto has always been, especially in this new age, I don't trust the kids, so I wait till signing day, but hopefully we can land some of these guys. Definitely need to land the offensive line. And you see how much your offensive line depth can be tested. And I mean, it's always next man up. And even though you're the backup, you need to be training like you're the starter, because you just never know what's going to happen. So we need to get these O-line guys.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, I feel like we're not going to get too much news on the recruiting front with visits and stuff like that until we get to the game against that team up north. That's kind of at this point what everybody is focusing on. We'll see if Micah DeBose is there. Jeremy Birmingham acted like, DeBose could kind of secretly come when he's coming back from Thanksgiving with his team up or his family up in Cleveland. We'll see. But I mean, there's going to be a ton of visitors for that one. You're going to have probably Jakeem Stewart there. Malik Autry still sounds like he's coming there. Naeem Offer apparently is going to come to that one. We'll see what happens there. Last time he had a visit scheduled, he did not come on that one. But we'll see. Kind of recruiting talk at this point. I don't know if too much is going to happen or too much news is going to be coming out until, like I said, until that game against that team up north. So. All right, Mike. Any thoughts about what's going on in the Big Ten? We got the team up north is up 3-0 on Indiana right now. They were right on the goal line, and of course their quarterback fumbles the ball and they lose a bunch of yardage. Probably should have had a penalty with the quarterback holding the the defensive back for Indiana from getting the ball. But I mean, overall, it doesn't look like Michigan or it doesn't look like Indiana right now is moving the ball as well on Michigan, but that changed last week against Michigan State. It could still change this week against Michigan.
It's early. I think they just figuring them out, and then once the game gets rolling, it'll get rolling. So
Yep, I agree. We'll see what happens. Not much to talk about with this one. Any other thoughts with stuff around the Big Ten or around the country? The Miami game, we talked about that a little bit. I don't know if there's been any other huge blowouts or anything like that. Georgia is playing Ole Miss right now as we speak, and that game's tied in the first quarter, 7-7.
Say that again.
I said Georgia and Ole Miss are tied right now in the first quarter, 7-7. Any other thoughts about just what's going on around the country or in the Big Ten with the games that have been happening today or happening later today?
No, I mean, I'm just trying to, definitely looking forward to the Georgia game, looking forward to the LSU Alabama game as well. So
there we go. Should be fun. Yep, Alabama, LSU tonight. That'll be an interesting one to look at. And then, of course, Texas destroyed Florida just days later after Florida said they were going with Billy Napier, which I felt like that was kind of funny to see. So, Mike, I think we covered the game, and I think we covered mostly everything that people are interested in tonight. Or today. Anything else around the country or around the game, or anything else you want to mention before we move on?
No, man, make sure you follow me on Twitter at 216_wildboy, and you can catch me on Best Damn Media platform on YouTube at Best Damn Media. What about you, JR?
Check us out. You can catch my Big Ten content over on the Big Ten Huddle. We go live over there. We also go live on the Voice of College Football, their Big Ten channel. And then you can also check out my personal Twitter where I tweet mostly Ohio State stuff at JRs_rankings. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here. We appreciate you watching, whether it's live or after the fact. And have a good one.
All right.